Excelsior friends! Are you tired of your superhero RPG games that are bogged down in mechanics and too many dice rolls, modifiers, and everything? Well, today on Rocket Punch, we're gonna take a look at the classic TSR Marvel Superheroes game. In my opinion, the best superhero game known to man and Cyborg.
Alright guys, today we're going to take a look at TSR's Marvel Superheroes, the advanced version. Yes, I was too awesome for the basic books. Actually, recently I've seen the basic books and I really wish I had the basic books as a young shaver because the advanced books were a bit much for someone as this being their first RPG. But I had a lot of fun with it as a young guy. I'm sure it's a big surprise to you that I'm quite the superhero nerd, or at least I used to be. So yeah, let's take a look at this. This was put out by TSR, and it actually came in two books, the player's book and the judge's book, and I still have the books to this day. And it's a really great system. It's really rules light, really imaginative, and you can just spend days and days just making fun characters, which is probably the best part of the system, is just making these random, weird superheroes. So let's take a look. So yeah, it's just great. All this line art is so good in the book. So inside, you got the credit page, you got Spidey, and you got a nice little table of contents that goes through everything. It's not the most beautiful, eye-catching book, so we'll kind of go pretty fast through here. But I'll explain a little bit of the stuff. So this runs on the FASRIP system, or the phase rip system. So you have your 7 primary abilities. You have some 4 physical abilities, your fighting, your agility, your strength, endurance, and your more intelligence abilities or mental abilities, your reason, your intuition, and your psyche. So on all these, you're going to kind of roll percentage. So this is a percentage-based system. All you need are 2 dice, and I so happen to have my original 2 dice with this. I took pretty good care of this system. It's a little worse for wear, but gently loved, right? Much loved book. So yeah, you're going to, it kind of gives you a definition of these things, kind of what kind of happens. So fighting is your raw combat ability. Your agility is your dexterity and nimbleness. Your strength is your muscle power. Endurance is your toughness. Your reason is your intelligence. Your intuition is like your wisdom. And psyche is like your willpower or strength of will. Then you just have health, karma, which is kind of like an experience point and kind of ability to push. So if you don't get the roll you need and you have some karma, you can kind of burn that to make it a success. And you have some resources and some popularity. And then you have your powers. So then it goes right into character creation. You're going to roll that D100, and there's a couple different things you can be. You can be an altered human, a mutant, high-tech guy, so either like Iron Man or Punisher, robot, or alien. And each character kind of gives you some different kinds of stats. So you're going to get maybe another power or a rank up in those powers. And it goes into character creation right here. So depending on what you rolled, you have additional roll tables, so mutants, altered humans, normal folks. So you're going to roll on each of your phase rip stats based on this, and there's different ranks. So on these, they have a rank and a number for that rank. So if I'm low, I'm going to be feeble, poor, typical, good, excellent, remarkable, incredible, amazing, and monstrous. What are all these things? So in this game, all you need for your rolls is the classic 4-color table. So up here you have all your attack types you're going to make. And then you have white is a miss, green is a basic success, yellow is a better success, and red is basically your crits. So depending on what column I have, so if I have a power or I have a fighting in remarkable, I'm going to roll on the remarkable here. Let's throw down. All right. We'll say 95. Usually I do the darkest colors are 10, so 95. So with a 95 on remarkable for my combat, I'm just going to punch someone, rocket punch them. So that's a blunt attack. So with a 95 in remarkable, I go down here and I cross-check Remarkable 95 on my yellows. So I slam them. And there's going to be some details on what all these mean. So slam them. I'm going to be shooting them across the field. And that's it. That's all you have to do. You reference with this, the chart at the top. So blunt attacks, edge attacks, shooting, throwing blunt, edged, and blunt. Throwing blunts. Energy, force attacks. So a lot of your powers are going to be like force or energy attacks. Grappling, grabbing, escaping, charging. So running at someone, like doing a juggernaut run at somebody. Dodging, evading, blocking, catching, and then stun, slam, or kill. These are some of these results. So once I do a blunt attack, and if I hit a red, I'm going to slam him. So if I got a red and red is stun. I can't read. My previous was a slam, right? So slam, and I can now cross-reference that. What happens with a slam? So a 0-8. So with the 0-8, it's just a green. So with a slam, I just knock them one area away. So if I'm near, I can go far. Movement in here, it's more kind of hexish or squares. But today, you can easily modify that into like near, close, and far, which I much more prefer those because I like to go light and quick and fast when I'm playing. So I jumped around a little bit, but that's it. Everything is this cool 4-color chart they're going to do. And every turn, you're either going to take an action and hit them, or you can say, well, I'm going to try to dodge anything that come. You have to declare at the beginning of the round if you're going to do some kind of attack or if you're going to dodge something. And if you both kind of basically decide to dodge, like if you decide to dodge, the enemy decides to dodge, then you're just kind of like feinting and parrying around and nothing really happens. But maybe you can get some kind of advantageous kind of point. So we'll come back to the tables. And nice enough, they put it on both the books, so the judge has his own table. And you can copy this, of course. So just a little taste on that. So I'm going to build my character with all these little charts. So depending on what I have, so I might have my fighting at typical, my agility at good, my strength at excellent. So those are telling me where I'm going to roll for when I do all these things. And at the top of this chart, it does tell you like you're going to use fighting skill for this, agility for this, strength, endurance is one of them. Mostly strength and agility and a couple endurances. And then the rest are kind of mental abilities, usually with powers. So it gives you a whole bunch of examples. You can tell this layout is a very ancient, old style of figuring things out. So it was difficult for somebody with being their first game, but somehow I kind of got through it. I don't think I really played it exactly perfect, but we had a lot of fun anyway. Because this is the best part, is you get to roll up your random abilities. So once you have your phase rip, then you're going to generate your second abilities of health and resources and talents. Then after that, you're going to generate your special abilities. So you get, you roll the dice and you get your powers, your talents, and your contacts. So you can see here it says 2-4. So you start with 2, but you can get a max of 4 through messing around with stuff and using limitations and things like that. So we can just go right to powers. So there's a lot of power families, basically, is how this is set up, categories. You have resistances, senses, movement, matter control, energy control, body control, distance attacks, mental powers, body alterations, offensive and defensive. So your resistances, pretty normal, electricity, fire, heat, that kind of thing. Senses like infravision, energy detection, mutant detection. Movement is your typical flight, gliding, wall crawling, that kind of stuff. Matter control is like your basic elements or weather control. Energy control categories like magnetic, electrical, light, sound, dark force. Body controls like growth, shrinking, stretching, shape-shifting. Distance attacks are like projectiles, so any kind of bullety kind of thing you can shoot out, sound generation, just any kind of thing. Mental powers, telepathy, telekinesis, all of that kind of good stuff. Your body alterations are like claws, extra attacks, extra body parts, and then defensive is like your body armor and some utility stuff like water breathing. So that's always handy to randomly roll. So yeah, you can randomly roll. I guess you could pick, but where's the fun in that? You're a mutant. You just get weird stuff through your DNA, right? Or from some kind of accident. But what you can do is you can get these limitations. So you can, by taking a limitation, you can increase the power rank of your powers or how those work. So that's always fun. Like, so you can limit it to daytime use, and that gives you a maximum of excellent. So you just kind of have to memorize or kind of get familiar with the table. So I can get up to this level of excellent. If I want to go up to remarkable with the power and shift it up higher, you know, it only affects one type of material. My ring doesn't affect wood or whatever. Then you got maximum of incredible. So you can't inflict less than a power rank damage. So you can't like pull power. That seems kind of overpowered. Then amazing, monstrous. So mostly you're going to go to I think amazing, or is it monstrous? Yeah, typically you can only go up to amazing. If you're a robot or alien, you can go up to monstrous. And then through updates and kind of pushing powers and adding, you can power rank up to unearthly and then shift X, Y, and Z. And then with the advanced, like class 1000, because they started adding the gods. And they're like, well, we already went this far. How do we add them in? Well, you got class 1000 now. Like I think Human Torch is class 1000 fire manipulation. So yeah, I went through the powers. Then you have like your talent categories. So all these do are what's called column shifting. It'll say like a CS, which means column shift. So if I'm typically I'm reasonable excellence. So I'm excellent in reason. Well, if I'm a detective, I can do like a +1 column shift. So when I use my detective talents or abilities, I can roll a little 1 column higher. So in this game, that's all it is. Rolling here, and then different bonuses give you the column shifts. So maybe you have a column shift in the minus or a column shift in the plus. So like if I hit, when I do dodging, I column shift. I don't just dodge and succeed. It's just column shifting. So they might have a green, but if I column shift them a couple, like if they were just at the edge and I column shift, they've shifted into white, so now they've missed everything. And that's how that works. And then there's a lot of box text, just huge things of text. So everything you do in here is called a feat. So that's what it's called, feat rolls. So I do like a power feat or just an ability feat. So I'm just going to roll my ability, roll my power. That's all it is. And then you have tables for like weight intensity. So if I want to weigh 800 pounds, then I need at least a strength of excellent, that kind of thing. If I want to throw something a certain amount, then it's I need this. If I have an incredible strength, I can throw it 11 areas. Material strengths, which are handy, and all these charts are on the GM screen that you can get for this book. Movement, which I kind of throw that out, and I go very theater of the mind, but it does have that. Combat I went over a little bit. I'm not going to go over here. It just really, it goes into extreme detail. Like here's charging, here's defensive actions, wrestling. And I actually have a little cheat sheet for a lot of these rules on Drive-Thru-RPG, and I'll link that down below. And I'll probably expand on it in the future. I have like a simpler character sheet with the table built into it, so you don't have to look at this. It's kind of condensed, and it kind of gives a little cheat sheet on some of these abilities. Goes over how karma works. So if you do good things, you get karma. If you do bad things, your karma goes down. So that's kind of how it is. You prevent arrest in an armory, you get 10. You stop it, you get 20. Then there's some negatives. You're defeated in public. You commit other crimes, permanent theft. So it's good. Like if any super murder hobos try to do stuff, you can give them negatives to their karma. So yeah, just always remember, if people want to do dumb stuff in their game, that, hey, you can do whatever you want, but those actions have consequences. Then it talks about advancement. You can spend your karma to eventually upgrade like your talents, your gear, your power abilities at a point. Talks about hardware, magic, and more. So you can also be a magic user. Magic is basically the same effects, same mechanics, basically, as the superpowers. So you'll just have like a rank in a certain magic spell or whatever. You can have the same thing, and it just rolls the same. The table of shooting weapons, so it talks about the range, the general price, the damage. So it just does a flat damage. So on the top, if we go back to our wonderful 4-color chart, you can see here the damage rating. So if I do hit you with something, then I use these numbers at the bottom. So like 2, 4, 6, 10, 20, 30, 40, and it goes up and up and up. So it's very quick and easy to play. It has more weapons, different types of ammunition you want, different melee and thrown weapon charts, other weapons, like if you want grenades or whatever, missiles, some vehicles. So as it gets higher, cost in here is also very abstract. So it says like cost of excellent. So if you have a resources of excellent, you can kind of buy anything excellent or lower. You kind of make like a credit check. So you just roll on that. And if you pass your resources, then you can basically afford anything. There's no like minutia of how many gold coins or caches you have. So I like that. Or you can do away with the roll and just say you can afford anything under excellent, so, or feeble or whatever. It talks about crashing, out of control, how to drive the vehicles. So it's the same, it's just this 4-color chart. So you'll have the ability to run that, and you're just gonna, how well you succeed. It's just gonna be a basic success. Goes into other kind of strange vehicles, setting up your home base or whatever. So your headquarters, what kind of headquarters, office buildings, some other stuff. You can buy 20 comic books, typical cost. I think with inflation, it's now monstrous cost. I've gone out there, I don't buy anymore, but I used to a long time ago. Goes over more how magic kind of works in the advanced rules. There's a lot more information. There's a magic powers table, basically the same. Some different types of hardware you can have. Goes over more for the magic. Like I say, this is the advanced rules. So I'll show you in a minute the basic rules. You can see I highlighted because it was a mess trying to find everything back in the day. So I'd want to look for resistances, and I highlighted everything because it was just a block of text. So here's all the powers. It gives you some descriptions of that and different kind of stunts you can do. So you don't automatically start with like Bobby Drake being, we'll go with Bobby Drake and his ice slides. That was the Human Torch though. So I can't just automatically make ice slides. I can control ice, but eventually I'll say I want to try to push my luck and make a stunt. So to make a stunt, you'll have to shift up to make that stunt, to make that ability check. And if you succeed at it, after a while, it just becomes part of your repertoire, and you can just always call on it at your normal power. Same with like Johnny Storm and his like make a cage built out of fire pillars and things like that. So it just goes over all these, and then there he is. There's Bobby Drake. I know he's in here somewhere. Invincible Woman. All these powers, just powers, and then I think that's it. Then you get to the back, and there is the simple character sheet, which is not as cool as the one I made, which is maybe okay, but I just wanted to plug it. Go take a look. And has a nice index, which is always nice. And then the Game Master book just gives you a little bit, or the Judge's book, sorry. Gives you a little bit of how to run the game. It does have this really cool, I used to like looking at this, like what all the fighting, what different ranks are, and what that means. So like strength, I think, where was it? Somewhere's like Aunt May, it was like feeble. Anyway, so like reason, feeble, couch potato. It just kind of goes over all of that. How to judge combat a little bit more. It kind of goes over, gives you a table of some typical feats and stuff like that. Judging power stunts. Oh, that's what I wanted to show you. Reason, where is it? Yeah, Reason, excellent. Modify existing 1980s technology. Yeah, everything has the 1980s, so they weren't really thinking. They could have just had it, modify existing technology. They didn't have to put the 1980s in there. I guess they weren't thinking this would last that long, but actually it's got quite the following, and there was a lot of supplements for these books. They ended up, I think, into the 90s. Like you could even get they had these little books of just character rosters, tons of characters. And they even had, people like Darkhawk, who I thought was kind of cool back in the 90s for some reason. I don't know, he's dark and brooding, and he had a grappling hook arm. Just talks about how to make campaigns, the bad guys. We won't go into that. And then here we have the characters, and I used to love looking at this. So when I got this book, I was still kind of new into comics, like in the 80s, and I had some X-Men comics and stuff. So some of the characters I didn't know, so it has a nice background and their powers and stuff. So you could kind of learn a lot about the characters in here and learn how to play them, even if you never knew about them. And it has the cool beast. They're just like Monkey Man Beast. Black Knight Box, who has who's Box? He's from Alpha Flight. Captain America, Captain Marvel, the original one. Cloak, Colossus, Cyclops, Dagger, Daredevil. Man, Cyclops, what am I talking about? Colossus, I love Colossus. What an interesting character. Just simple, fun powers. Bobby, because I used to watch Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends, so frick yeah, I loved Spider-Man and Iceman and Firestorm. They were so cool. Yes, I'm dating myself, but I'm sorry. Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends is the best superhero cartoon ever. Sorry, I got off track. Magneto, he's a good guy, because this is when he was on X-Men as a good guy. Then you got Nightcrawler, who I also loved a lot. Silver Surfer. The black suit Spidey before Venom. Spidey's awesome. Although the red and blues, Spidey's got to be red and blue. I mean, his original costume is just so perfect. Mohawk Storm, that's always awesome. And then Wolverine, of course. So yeah, one of the first comics I had, I should say, I got rid of everything. Was the Fastball Special. I was so enamored by that. So yeah, it was just cool. And then you got the bad guys, weird ones. If you're like me, Doc Ock, you have to have Doc Ock. You have to have Hobgoblin, or Goblin really, but you got some Daredevil guys. I really like I wouldn't want to play Fight the Skrull. I mean, I guess so, but I'd rather do street level stuff. So Spider-Man, Daredevil. I mean, even X-Men. Sentinels are cool. Okay, hold on. I did say Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends is the best superhero cartoon. Okay, yeah, but also the original 1990s X-Men, because it had the best theme song ever. Oh, I guess the Spider-Man cartoon was pretty good. Yeah. Okay, well, there was a lot of really good ones, but the ones now suck. Sorry. Because I'm an old grognard, and all the new stuff sucks. No, there's some good stuff. But I mean, the old Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends, such a just awesome show. It was just so corny and awesome. And you had Crimzeek and just all these other stuff. It's so good. And it's the same Marvel Studios that did the Dungeons and Dragons cartoon. So there's a lot of back and forth with sound effects and things like that, and voice actors between the two, and they're just so good. Can't believe it. And then here's some supporting characters. You can fight some dinosaurs and things like that. Atlanteans and things like that. Eternals. And then you can fight just your street level people like hitmen, firefighters, and lawyers in case you ever want to punch a lawyer in the face like I do. I'm sorry if you're a lawyer, but I hate dealing with lawyers. So yeah, this is just a really cool system. You should totally check it out. You can get this stuff on the internet. If you look, you can get it for free. But yeah, that's the advanced book. There is the basic book. It is the basic revised. I'm not going to go through it. But yeah, if you're first getting into it, probably skip on these and go to this one first. But those are the ones I found in the B. Daltons or something like that. One of those really small bookstores way back in the day. So yeah. And then I also have, I have the Spidey's one. I have Webs. So let me know if you guys want to take a look at this. And I also have the X-Men, because those were like my two favorites, Spidey and X-Men. So yeah, that's the Marvel TSR Superhero book. It's super awesome, and you should check it out because it's rules light, very imaginative. You get to make a whole bunch of crazy superheroes just running around the place doing all kinds of wacky stuff. So until we meet again, friends, Excelsior and Rocket Punch! Later!